Have many of you tried the Corsair M75 Air? Actually, a really good mouse and a pretty fun shape to try. But Corsair actually just released an updated version, the M75 Wireless, even though the original M75 Air was also wireless. How confusing. Now, as far as in your box, of course, you're gonna get your mouse. It also comes in a black version. You get your USB-A to C cable, your dongle, and then some replacement buttons because this mouse can be used left or right-handed. Now, I wanna kick it off with the shape of this mouse, as I know many people probably just glanced over it, and it does have slightly a unique shape. You're seeing the dimensions there, but right here, I wanna show you the thermal. You can see my hand was already on it. You can see it definitely pronounced here near the back, but I'm going to put my hand on a little bit more. You can kind of see my grip through the thermal. I'll show you it outside of the thermal as well, but I want to show you it sitting in my hand. It does have a pronounced hump. I'll remove my hand and you can see it's right there, almost right in the middle, and then it swoops down to the back. But you see on the sides, it's very minimal because it's just that hump right there in the mid back. And what I mean by that is whenever you look at the shape of this mouse, you have that ambi, you have that symmetrical type of shape. It's not ergo or bulbous or anything. It doesn't flare out a whole bunch. So when you put your hand on it, again, it just sits in there. That hump is pretty much right here in the mid of my front knuckle and then all the way to the back, right back there. I mean, it fills out the hand for sure, but it's not flaring your hands out. You're not getting pushed over here or on the outside. It's really pronounced right in the middle. There's really no other mouse I can compare the shapes to of this, but if there's something that gives me those vibes of that hump being right there in the middle, it's definitely Logitech G403 or the 703. Again, you feel it definitely in the middle. So as far as using it and gaming with it, I can't say it's one of those mice that you can really flick and dip, because even when you dance it around, you are going to feel it hitting your hand and then also that hump in the middle there. So I would class it more or less as far as, again, that ergo type of gameplay, slower if you want to snipe a lot or really hold those shots out. Kind of how I used to like playing some Call of Duty. You know, I play it quick. I like locking my shots and holding them. I'm not flicking around in Fortnite. So again, still, even though this is symmetrical in that ambi shape, class it more of that play style of a bigger ergo mouse. I know, it's confusing, but hopefully that helped a little bit. Now, as far as the weight of the new M75 Wireless, it is significantly increased. So I'm gonna go and slap the new M75 Wireless on here. We're getting 90.1 grams, like, wow, what the heck? And the crazy thing about that is when I put the Air on here, we're getting 62 grams. You all know I'm not a weight crazy person when it comes to mice, but seeing that difference, it is significant. And yes, you clear as day feel it. It is night and day going from the Air to the Wireless. You feel that weight big time over here. But the biggest catch about the weight of this mouse is it is not balanced whatsoever. It is clear as day near the back. As you see, they have that RGB added there, and then also on the backside, right along here on that back lip. I'll fire it up and you can see it turn on. So that is really increasing that weight. You can see that RGB is all around there, and then on the backside and in the hand, you feel it in the back. It's like you're towing something with your truck. I mean, no joke. It's so weird getting M75 Wireless in the hand and then coming over here to the Air where it's perfectly balanced. It just feels great in the hand. And again, don't catch me saying that, oh, hey, it's just because it's 90 grams, right? I'm not a crazy weight person when it comes to mice. Yeah, we like them a little bit lighter. This is really the sweet spot. But again, it's just where the weight is placed right here. It's just no good. And you really feel it whenever you're actually gaming, especially on a cloth pad. You can see me just slide it here and look at that front just want to fling over. The back kind of anchors right down. Now, where it did become manageable and actually usable is whenever I used it on a glass pad. I've been testing a new wall hack pad for quite a while right now. I'll be actually covering this mouse pad here eventually. But again, as far as using this, a heavier mouse on a faster pad, that's where it became manageable, because again, that weight's not really going to stick there. You can still see the front wants to fling out, but not nearly as much as on the cloth pad. You see it just slightly glide up to the front right there. It just seems weird, and it's definitely a bummer coming from something that's so nice and balanced and sacrificing that for some fancy RGB on the back end. All right, so let's move on and let's go and talk about the build of this mouse. And it is absolutely solid, top to bottom, all around this entire mouse. I mean, holy smokes, I can't even press any harder here. I can get everything up to 13 pounds, even on the bottom, and then I get no flex whatsoever. This thing is a tank. And that's something I've always loved about Corsair products is, yeah, they might be a little bit heavier and they might not have the trendy holes in it, but they are always incredibly solid. Now, as far as the buttons on this mouse, they are using optical switches with their quick strike, so you have minimal press down, and you can see it pretty much goes down, not much play at all after afterwards? Pretty much none. It's only on that far outside there. But let me give you a quick listen. Now, other than the 1 and 2s, I want to talk about the side buttons. As I mentioned, you can use this mouse left or right-handed, and on the right side of this mouse, I have the fake outs, and on the left side, I have my actual buttons in there. And yes, you're seeing that right. They both look pretty much flush, and when I use these buttons on the side, I can barely feel them. My thumb can just slide right up over them. It's giving me Razer Viper flashbacks from way back in the days, and whenever you press these side buttons, they go into the shell, so you really got to push your finger into the shell to really get those buttons going. And why that is the actual buttons in my right hand here are almost the exact same size as the fake out buttons right there. You can see right here, I mean, they are minimal amounts bigger than the fake outs. So we have two issues with the buttons. Number one, them being incredibly flush, but number two, whenever you press them, again, going into the shell, it is drastic. And the weird thing is, again, when I come over to the M75 Air, they're crisp. They're right there. They don't go into the shell. Now, the M75 Wireless is using the Corsair Marksman 26K sensor, which can go up to 2000 polling rate. And as far as battery life, you can get 105 hours with the RGB off or 65 with it on, and about double that on both ends when using it in Bluetooth. And of course, you can come into IQ software and adjust everything on a mouse. Now, whenever you select the dongle, this is where you're going to adjust your polling rate. Right out of the box, it's set to 1000, but again, you can set it up to 2000 via wireless as well. But then select the mouse, and this is where you adjust everything else as far as your key assignments, your lighting. Again, you got that little strip on the back, and then a logo. Hardware lighting is for whenever you're not using IQ. You got your DPI, which you can enable or disable these steps down here. Surface calibration, and then device settings. And this is where you can control a lot of the mouse here as far as left-handed mode or enable all buttons, so you can use the buttons on the right side of the mouse as well. Coming down here, you have angle snapping, and in your lift-off height, you got low, medium, high, and then calibrate. I leave mine on low, and it's actually really nice as far as that lift-off distance there. And then button response optimization. I left it off for a lot of my play, and then on. Really didn't notice any difference, so I just leave it on. Now, the M75 Wireless is going to come in at $130, which is a little bit strange because the M75 Air came in at $150. I don't know, these days in mice, you pay more for them being lighter, I guess. So it's the same situation over there, even though you have more over here as far as your RGB, even though if that's not your thing, you got more with this mouse as far as the swappable buttons and stuff. But this mouse, why I am disappointed with it and gotta call it a bust and a pass, is not so much the RGB or again the weight, it's how that weight is implemented in there, really off balance. The side buttons mushing in there, and again being really flush with it, it's just weird and it doesn't feel right when you're gaming with it. So unfortunately, the new M75 Wireless from Corsair is a pass for me. But again, I do really like this shape, and at that discounted price, you can get the M75 Air for right now. I feel like it's a good pickup and definitely a fun mouse to play around with. But anyways, thank you so much for coming by for this video. I hope it was able to help you out, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye now.